We're on the air. Oh, shoot. Doggone it. Hi, folks. How are you doing? Captain Mark here. I'm so glad to have you with us today. I mean, really, I'm just so excited to have you once again to ask Dr. Drone. Now, we have a special guest today we're going to bring on in just a moment, but first, I want to thank our underwriters. This show today has been underwritten by RBS Drone Technologies. And ladies and gentlemen, I just want to tell you, I'm so excited because I got a ton of emails, but I couldn't even answer all of them. I don't know why you're not calling in on the show and asking these kind of questions over the air. Remember, this is a live call-in television show, and all you have to do is get off your lazy butt and pick up the phone, because I got to tell you, I really cannot hear you through the television screen. Duh. We have to make sure that you get up and give us a call, because if you want to know about drone technology, if you want to know about how drones are going to enter every part of your life in one way or another in the upcoming years, if you want to know why Bloomberg says that the drone technology industry today at $2 billion will expand to $10 billion. $10 billion with, $27 billion within the next 10 years. If you want to know the answers to those questions, you need to call in at that number that you see right there at the bottom of the screen. We welcome your calls and welcome your comments. The first question came in the same day that we did last week's show. And this was about working for yourself. Well, we're going to talk a little bit about that today with our guest. But I want to tell you, this is an opportunity to work for yourself. Yes, absolutely, you can work for yourself. And at the International Stevenson Foundation, we focus on helping people to rebuild their lives. We focus on helping people who have been disenfranchised from society for one reason or another, because they just simply made a mistake. Now, we're going to show you yet another way to re-enter society. To re-enter society in a meaningful way and make a good living at doing it. Being a drone pilot. Right now, there aren't any rules that can stop you because of your history, right? So we're going to make sure that you can do that. And you can work for yourself at any age. We had a lady that was asking at a park. I was flying this past week at one of our local parks, and she came up to me and asked about drones, and she had heard how she could get into the business, and some people told her about the many opportunities in drone technology, but she was afraid of something. I felt something was wrong with her, so I got to asking her. She said that she was 53 years old, and she was a recent divorcee. And she had to restart her life, had to reinvent herself. Well, many of us, we have to reinvent ourselves throughout different stages of our lives. But she found herself, for the first time in her life, she has to work. And she wanted to know about working in drone technology. She must have been a lucky woman, a well-kept woman was she, because if this was the first time that she ever had to work, now she needed to get some experience in working. But she brings many other things to the table. Because of her age, she already knows how to treat people. She already knows how to communicate with people. She didn't have any problem coming up to me asking, and nor do you. Remember, this is a live call-in show. The telephone number is on the bottom of the screen. One of the other things that was asked online, that was sent in to us via email, was how do you limit risk and liability? Well, by practicing, by making sure that you know the rules. Even if you're not a professional, you still have to follow the rules. Flying a drone can be very dangerous. A lot of fun, but it can be very dangerous. This thing here weighs, without the battery, about 2.5 pounds. and travels almost 60 miles an hour. So this thing can do a lot of damage. And these right here, if they get close enough to your neck, well, you know what's going to happen there. You got to make sure. You got to make sure that you know the safety of them. But how else do you limit your liability? There's drone insurance of all types right now. Not just drone insurance that will protect your drone, but insurance that will be $1 million or $2 million to protect clients that you may find jobs to do for. For example, if you're flying around someone's house and you're filming their home, they're trying to sell their home or rent their apartment building, or maybe you're filming a automobile lot or something like that. If the drone falls out the sky, causes damage, you're liable, and so is the person who hired you. So you got to make sure that you limit your liability by seeking out one of the many companies that can provide drone insurance. This liability coverage is very, very important. Now, what's the outlook for drone business? I'm going to hold that question for our guest today because he's going to tell us his story about coming on board and making sure that he was well prepared to change his career to come into the drone business. Now, there's another overhead that I'm looking for, which has my contact information. And as our producer gets that information for me, I'm going to make sure that you are able to do that. But first, let's take a quick call. Welcome to today's show. Ask Dr. Drone whatever you wish. Welcome to today's show. Caller, you're not there? Okay. You can call in again at 312-738-1060. And before we bring on our guest today, I want to make sure that if you have any questions for Dr. Drone, that you can ask these questions very simply by either calling me and leaving a voicemail message. I make sure that I do that. Or you can email me at askdrdrone@gmail.com. That's askdrdrone@gmail.com. Or you can call me at 312-437-2230. That's 312-437-2230. Now, for today's guest. Hold on a second, caller. We'll be right with you. Today's guest, Arthur Allen III, is a licensed real estate managing broker, and he's been one for the past 26 years. He's a musician, a producer, a videographer, and an aspiring filmmaker, among many other things. He jumped into the RC world. That's remote control world. He jumped into the RC world at the early age of 5 with cars, boats, motorcycles, planes, and of course helicopters. His latest RC addiction started in 2013 with the purchase of a quadcopter. Now fast forward to November 2016, and he's received his FAA Part 107 license. He's a commercial pilot today. Not just a commercial pilot, but a commercial drone pilot. Welcome to today's show, Arthur Allen.
Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you. I will receive that. Yes, I will receive that. Thank you so much. You know, I'm so excited to have you today because as I was finding out things about you, I was finding out all kinds of great things that you had worked on so hard. And I know that getting your Part 107 license wasn't easy, but it was quick. And I looked at a video that you produced saying that you were able to do your license in 1 week. Is that so?
That's correct.
How did you do that?
Well, I started out, how can I put this, kind of gathering books and things of that nature about private pilot and commercial pilot, helicopter pilot and so forth. Tried to gather information on my own, and with my schedule.
Wasn't it hard?
Yeah, it was difficult. It was difficult because with my schedule, running the real estate business and everything that I'm doing, it was tough. So what I wound up doing was signing up with a course. There are many courses online that you can sign up with, and they have it broken down into modules. And what I basically did was I buckled down and I said that I actually paid for the course to take the test. Well, I put the money aside, I should say. I set a date in my head. I projected it out there, and I said, on this date at this time, I'm going to register to take the test, which was 7 days out. Broke all the modules down. Let's say if it was 20 modules, broke it down. Every day I did 2, 3, however many modules I needed to do that day. That's what I did to reach my goal. At the end of the 7 days, I took the course class, passed that, took many practice exams over and over again.
Did you have any other drone pilots to talk to?
No, I did this on my own.
You didn't have anybody else? I didn't either.
No.
I'm so glad to meet you.
You too.
I'm glad.
There's not a lot of us out here.
No.
There's not a lot of us
but
out
there's
here.
going to be a lot of us.
Oh, yeah.
And why do you think that?
Well, I mean, the industry is still new. It's still young, and I can't quote the numbers, but when they opened it up in August, they had some ridiculous number that registered to take the
65,000.
Right, 65,000, and it's growing. So
That's
everybody see
nationwide.
it's an opportunity. It's an opportunity. There's a lot of hobbyists out there,
Absolutely.
and what I always say, the hobbyists, they really need to learn the law, and everybody needs to get their Part 107 is what I preach, because at some point, from what I'm seeing, everybody is going to need a Part 107 license. at some point.
Jobs. I see it coming. I see all types of companies that are preparing to do deliveries and so forth.
Right.
Do we have another caller? We have a caller on the line. Welcome to today's show. Let's take a quick call, huh? Caller, are you there?
Yes, hello?
Yes. Hi, how are you doing?
Oh, I'm fine. How are you?
Very good. What's your question or comment?
Well, Dr. Drone, my wife and I watched Hidden Figures over the weekend, and we saw how women were sort of mistreated and overlooked at NASA, which, of course, was a very high-tech industry.
Yes.
And drone technology is another high-tech industry. My question is, because we have a daughter, we'd like to know how open are the opportunities for women in the field of drone technology? Would they, have open opportunities, or would they end up being like Hidden Figures, people that were just kept in the background, that were maybe teaching people how to fly drones and doing drone calculations and doing drone engineering, but getting none of the credit for it? Or is drone technology going to be a field that's open for women?
Well, very good question. Thank you for your call and your question. Last week we had Leila Mutisia from Kenya. And she's an example, 24-year-old young lady coming into the business. What do you think about women in the business? Are you seeing many women at the events that are now coming up for drone pilots?
Absolutely. This industry is new. However, it's not gender specific. It's not something that can be curtailed or held down, or the growth can't be stunted. It doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman. You can come in at all levels from the engineering perspective if you want to design and
all
develop.
ages.
All ages. So it's not specific to being a man or a woman. It's whatever you want to do. If you can take it up, if you can achieve it. I hate to sound corny. You can achieve it. So it's definitely opportunities out there for women.
Very good. And I'm excited because when I go to these events, I'm starting to see more and more females there also. Do you know that, for example, the Intel, the company Intel, did the Super Bowl halftime show with Lady Gaga? And do you know that that halftime show, had hundreds of drones making all types of fireworks and shapes of company logos, all types of things? Do you know that program, the project manager, is a female?
Didn't know that.
Young lady,
Didn't know
very
that.
young lady. And so, yes, the doors are wide open for males and females. What do you think about the pricing of that it costs to get started? Now, I know that a fixed cost is what the government charges, the FAA charges $150 to take a test. And you have to do that. But what about all the plethora of companies, and we're not here to promote any companies, of course, but what about the plethora of companies that are out there offering drone classes? How do you know what's good and how do you know what's garbage, Arthur?
Well, what you want to look for is you need to do a little research initially on your own. FAA offers a lot of information online on their site, which is the first place that I started. They actually have study materials. There's a small program, of course, that you can actually take through the FAA site. And it'll give you an idea as to what the test will be like. And there's actually a study material. There's practice tests that you can actually download also. If you feel comfortable, you can go through that. You can study on your own, as we said in the beginning. Beyond that, whatever course you're thinking about signing up for, and there are courses that start out at, the cheapest one I've seen is $149. They go up to $3,500.
Wow.
So they're out there.
That's a big range.
But you want to make sure that the materials are covered that you see in the FAA documentation. Make sure
Okay.
that the class covers that.
Very
also.
good. We have another caller. Welcome to Ask Dr. Drone. What's your question or
Hey
comment?
there. Hi, Mark. How are you?
Very good.
My question is about using these drones in maritime situation. What are the regulations for launching drones out on the lake or at sea by private citizens?
Very, very good question. Do you know that, well, some of you do know that I am a licensed 100-ton United States Coast Guard licensed captain. And yes, I know a little bit about the maritime industry, but as far as drones are concerned, you cannot film from a moving vessel. The only rule that I know that's different from working on land and working on the sea is that you must be at anchor. You have to be at anchor in order to operate the drone. Rest of the rules are just the same. You have to get permission from in areas that you're flying in, just like you have to do on land. We have another caller. Thank you for your call. We have another caller. Welcome to today's show.
Yes, my question is, I'm not a commercial flyer, but still, some people tell me that it's important to take a training course. Tell me why it's important to train, even though I'm not interested in flying commercially.
Very good. Our guest will definitely answer that because he just finished his 107 back in November. And what do you think about that?
Again, that's a good question. The one thing at the current time, the FAA does not have an actual practical exam. It's basically knowledge-based, which means to become a private pilot, you actually have a knowledge-based test and you have a practical, which means you have a pilot, an instructor that flies with you. Currently, there isn't one.
So wait a minute. I can get my license? Yes. I can get my license without even knowing how to operate one of these?
Absolutely.
Well, how is that possible? And what does that do for me? And what would be my next steps?
Well, again, you can pass the test, but if you don't know, you need to learn the basics of flying.
But most of the people that, like our caller, he already has been flying. Now he's thinking about getting his license. So is that usually the order that we first come in as hobbyists?
I would think as a hobbyist you need to, I don't know what the set number of hours it would be, but I think you definitely need to master whatever aircraft you have. Whatever you purchase, you need to learn how to hover, you need to know how to control it, you need to learn orientation and things of that nature.
Very good. We're going to take two quick questions. Welcome to today's show. Ask Dr. Drone. Your turn. Go.
Hey, what's up, Mark? This is Steve. I'd like to ask your guest. My grandson, he's 7 years old. He'll be 8 in September. Same as you, boats, cars, remote cars. He did everything. I brought him a Air Hawk helicopter, and he mastered that real quick. So I just brought that Sky Rover from the larger helicopter. He's doing really good. but he's asking me about a drone. How old do you think they should be before they do the drones, and which one should I pick up for them if you do decide to get one for them?
Well,
Let me
first of
get
all,
out there so I can hear your response.
okay, first of all, put him out and tell him to get a job. He already has a skill.
Hey, he got a job. His
Okay, the quick answer to that one. We have one more caller. Go ahead.
I would probably say start off with something small that fits in the palm of your hand or his hand. Make sure you're always there to supervise. $100, if they have them for $30, $40, get him something small to practice in. He's going to break it. You're going to buy more than one, so get him something small. Be there and let him practice.
How old do you have to be to have your license?
13.
16.
16.
Close. Close. Start digging in at 13, though, but you can get it at 16, and you can be fully independent. Our next caller, welcome to today's show.
Yes, I wanted to make a couple of points. One, I think
Very quickly.
Yes, I think this is a really great idea. People need to be made aware of the fact that this is a whole new trend in terms of people who are interested in filming their family events,
Yes.
weddings, graduations, this sort of thing. People love this idea of being able to have this view from overhead of their event, and they're willing to pay a good deal of money if you have that skill set. That's point number one. Point number two, anyone out there wanting to do this, please familiarize yourself with the fluid nature of the laws out there. Right now, we've got a whole lot of laws that, because the technology is ahead of the legislation, we don't know exactly what's legal. There's a lot of gray area. You cannot take a drone, for instance, and fly it 100 feet outside of somebody's bedroom window because for obvious reasons. So understand what the law is, where you are, and what the limitations are. Young people are tempted to have a little bit
Very
of fun.
good. Very good. Ask a question now. Give me a question, quick.
Yes, well, just that my suggestion is please understand the law. You do not want to end up being cited or arrested for inappropriately operating one of these things.
Very good. Thank you for your call and your comment. Is the law important to follow?
Very important.
Why?
Well, it's in simplest terms, it's the law, but FAA prevails. However, local ordinances in many cities and municipalities have laws that overlap the FAA. So you need, as the caller says, you need to be aware of what the local ordinances are and so forth. And they apply differently if you're a hobbyist versus a commercial pilot. Sometimes they're a little more, they're a lot more lenient on commercial
Okay,
pilots.
we're going to take a look at some of your video footage right quick. And if we go right to the PC and we put it up here like so, like that there, bam, what are we looking at?
This is just me, just out kind of practicing, shoot some aerial footage at the parks and so forth. Actually, I was testing out some camera settings on this particular day, on these days, I should say.
Very good. And it looks like you're flying in a really safe area.
I am. I'm not flying over people. There's nobody around. I'm not over 400 feet, and which are basic FAA rules.
Where's this football field? I need to go there and practice myself. I like those lines. Absolutely. We got to make sure that we are inviting you to come out and learn as much as you can about drone technology. I want to thank you so much for coming out, and let's turn the video off for a second. I just cannot express my thanks. Arthur Allen, ladies and gentlemen, our guest today has been Arthur Allen III.
Thanks for letting me be here.
He has definitely answered a bunch of questions for us, and we want to have you back.
I want to go back.
I gotta go flying with you, and so do they. So do they. If you ask Dr. Drone by email, this is how you can get in touch with me. Just go ahead and send me an email or give me a telephone call right here. We gotta go. We're out of time right now. I just can't thank you enough. We've had a wonderful time. Mama, get the coffee ready, because the kid's on his way.